What's up, folks? It's Kevin. In this video, we're talking about what is happening in the San Diego real estate market, what that means for buyers and sellers alike, and what you can expect in the future. So by now, I'm sure you've heard from a friend or a family member who's shopping for property and interested in purchasing a home that it is extremely competitive right now. Your conversation probably went something like this. Oh my gosh, I can't seem to get an offer accepted. I keep getting bidded out by other buyers who are offering $50,000 over the asking price. This is not uncommon, and let's talk about why there is so much buyer demand and why it's driving up prices and why it's so competitive right now. The first reason why is because banks are offering interest rates at lower than 3% fixed over a 30-year term. And anytime you have a lower interest rate, naturally you have a lower monthly payment, which allows you to bid more for a property today than you could have done 12 or 16 months ago. The second reason why is because homeowners are just choosing not to sell right now. They're concerned with allowing people to walk through their home due to the illness. They don't have security in what their employment might look like in the next 12 to 24 months. And they just don't know where they're going to go if they do sell their house and whether or not they're going to be able to find that replacement property, which has caused this compound effect of sellers just not choosing to sell, which has made it harder and harder on buyers who are searching for homes. And Supply and Demand 101 tells us that anytime there are more buyers in the market than there are sellers, naturally that's going to drive up the price because the demand is higher than the supply. So it's not uncommon that if interest rates remain low, we're going to continue to see that. But that's not the only thing. There are regular buyers like you and me who are buying a home for our family or buying a home for ourselves. And then there are investors. Now, these investors are also jumping into the market right now. And these investors are typically cash buyers who usually only pay up to 80% of the value of the home with the intention of then adding value to that home later and it being a good long-term investment, and then potentially putting a renter in there to cover their mortgage so that way they don't have to pay on it moving forward. Well, what these investors are doing is they're actually going in, buying those homes with cash so they're able to outbid the competition who's using financing, because cash ultimately is more attractive to a seller. And then they're turning around and financing that home, doing a cash out refinance, essentially pulling the cash that they just invested out of that property, putting it back into their bank account, and then financing 80% of the value and keeping it under 3% over 30 years. And again, putting a renter in there to supplement that mortgage. And they're just buying property after property after property because they're able to borrow money for so cheap. Now let's look at some numbers. Between February 2020 and February 2021, we have seen inventory levels drop by 57.3%. And in the same time period, we have seen home prices increase by 9.4%. So as you can tell, when inventory is low, it's really a catalyst to propelling those home values up. And so the question is, if interest rates remain low and buyer demand remains high, how long can we sustain that type of market? And what should you be expecting in the future? To me, the three biggest catalysts that could change the market and potentially give us a correction in price is going to be, number one, if we start to begin to see any filed foreclosures begin to take place and people actually being able to be foreclosed on. Right now, there's a big foreclosure moratorium that is preventing those people from having their homes foreclosed on them, even though they're continuing not to make their monthly payment. The second catalyst is going to be any sort of tax policy that changes. I know that there's been some speculation around Biden changing the tax policy in regards to the 1031 exchange, where sellers are able to sell an investment property and then move that equity or whatever they make from that sale into a like investment without being taxed on that. Well, if that goes away and sellers are now taxed on that gain, that might change their position in regards to whether or not they're willing to move it into another property, or B, if they're just gonna sell it right away just to get out from underneath it. And then I think the most important catalyst to whether or not we'll see a market correction is ultimately going to be if interest rates increase, which I know that they've stated that they don't want the overnight rate to change until 2024, but we'll see how that goes. I know that inflation plays a huge part in that, and so we'll just have to wait and see. But if you are in the market looking to purchase a home today, and you're looking to sell a home today, what you can expect is, as a buyer, it's going to be very competitive Know going in that it's going to take a little bit longer for you to identify the perfect home for you or you and your family. And then the bidding process is also going to take some time. Don't get frustrated, be patient, be aggressive. As a seller, know that you have a unique opportunity right now. An opportunity where you're going to have 20, 30, up to 50 families bidding on your home, and you really get to control that transaction. What I mean by that is you're going to get added benefits that you didn't necessarily always get, and you're going to be able to design that offer essentially however you want. Meaning if you want to close escrow in 21 days, you can find a buyer who can do it. And then you can even negotiate to stay in the property 30 days after escrow at no cost to you, which makes it easier for your transition to wherever it is that you're going. And so as a seller, just know that you have more leverage today than ever before. And if you are thinking about selling, definitely reach out to a local real estate agent in your area. Lastly, whichever side you're on of the transaction, or whether or not you're even in the market today, but you plan on being in it tomorrow, reach out to a real estate professional, somebody you know, you like, and you trust, and somebody you can count on that's going to give you the right information. Thank you so much for watching this video. I appreciate the support. Please send it to a friend or a family member that you think can benefit from it, and do not forget to subscribe to my channel. Thank you guys so much, and I'll see you in the next video.